Hello, today I'll be ranking all the Good Charlotte albums. I'll just be focusing on the main studio albums. I won't be talking about any EPs or live stuff, compilations, remixes, or anything like that. Again, just the main studio albums. But yeah, I've also done a ranking for Blink 182 and Sum 41. So if you haven't seen those rankings and you like those bands, definitely check out my rankings for those bands after this video right here. But yeah, honestly, this was a fairly easy ranking for me. There's maybe a couple albums that might go back and forth within my ranking, but that's really it though. Again, fairly easy ranking for me, but let's go ahead and dive into it. We'll be going from worst to best. Keep in mind, this is just my personal ranking. You don't have to agree with it, but feel free to let me know your ranking in the comments section below. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about what I think is their worst. And this was the easy pick for me. It's the album that I connect to the least out of all their albums in their discography, and that is Good Morning Revival. Arguably, maybe their poppiest. I mean, it does have its highlights though. I do Misery, The River, Dance Floor Anthem, probably my favorites on here, and nowadays really the only songs that I return to from the album. The rest of the albums kind of take it or leave it for me. I know some people like the song Keep Your Hands Off My Girl. Honestly, I've never been a fan of that song. It's a song that's never really done it for me. But yeah, always been my least favorite from the band, and all of these years later, still my least favorite. But again, it does have its highlights. But next we have Cardiology. So yeah, a step up from Good Morning Revival, but still one of their weaker albums, I'd say. An album that I think could benefit from some trimming, but again, a good album, but not great or amazing, at least in my opinion. But some of my favorites on here: Let the Music Play, Like It's Her Birthday, Last Night, Standing Ovation, 1979. Those are, again, some of my favorites. But yeah, a good album, but not great or amazing. And for me, one of their weaker albums, but not bad. But next, we're going to go ahead and move on to Youth Authority. So yeah, this was their comeback album, and honestly, pretty good comeback album, I'd say. And honestly, this album and the next album in my ranking kind of go back and forth. It really depends on my mood about whether or not, or about which album I like more. But yeah, Makeshift Love, probably maybe my favorite song on here, and easily my favorite of the singles. Maybe one of my favorite Good Charlotte songs too. But some of my other favorites: Stray Dogs, The Outfield. Honestly, I do kind of dig the song 40 Ounce Dream. Life Changes is also really good, a solid way to open up the album. But yeah, really good album from Good Charlotte, I'd say. But now we're going to go ahead and move on to their latest album, Generation RX. And my copy comes with a signed CD booklet, so yeah, pretty cool. But yeah, I was really into this album when it first came out. Self-Help and Shadow Boxer being some of my favorites at the time, and still some of my favorites on the album. Actual Pain, which was the first single, I believe, another highlight on the album for me. I also like the album closer, California, which I believe is a song that's dedicated to their kids, the Madden Brothers kids. I really like that song. Leech is also pretty good, another highlight off the album. But yeah, pretty good album from Good Charlotte, and not really sure what's going on with Good Charlotte right now. I mean, it's been 4 years since their last album. I mean, I do know that they did drop a single back in 2020, if I got the year right, the song Last December, which, I'll be honest, didn't really do a whole lot for me. I found it kind of dull. Not terrible, but kind of meh for me. Decent / kind of meh. The song that didn't really stick with me, to be honest, but not terrible. But let's go ahead and move on to the next album in my ranking, and it is Chronicles of Life and Death. So yeah, I got the life version and the death version. But yeah, pretty good album from Good Charlotte. Arguably, maybe their darkest album. And yeah, you can make the argument that this album could benefit from some trimming, but still, I actually really like this album. But some of my favorites on here, the title track, I Just Want to Live, of course, and Predictable, which I think is maybe one of their best songs. You get towards the deeper cuts or the lesser known songs on here, like In This World, Murder, which kind of a unique song on the album. Kind of feels a little bit different from the rest of the album, but still fits within the album, I'd say. But always been one of my personal favorites. Honestly, one of their most underrated songs. Same with Falling Away. Pretty fun song on the album, and another favorite of mine on the album also. Secrets is also pretty good. But yeah, really good album from Good Charlotte for sure. But next we move to the album that a lot of people put at the top, and that is The Young and the Hopeless. Definitely one of the best, and I'm sure most people would agree with me on that. I mean, you have many of their big songs on here, like, of course, the anthem, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, and Girls and Boys. But even the deep cuts on this album are really good. I really like the song My Bloody Valentine, maybe one of my favorite Good Charlotte songs. I like that song a lot. When it comes to the singles on this album, I think the title track is kind of overlooked a little bit, but I really like that song, especially the guitar work, especially in that song. But yeah, really good album. The Story of My Old Man is a song that's going to be another favorite of mine on the album. But yeah, definitely easily one of Good Charlotte's best. But now we're going to go ahead and move on to the album that I think is their best. And if some might disagree with me on this, but I think most of us can agree that it's at least one of their best, and that is their self-titled debut. So yeah, definitely my favorite Good Charlotte album. I think it starts off really strong with those first 6 songs. And there's some pretty underrated stuff on here, like Complicated and Screamer and I Heard You. But also I really like the song Waldorf Worldwide, which is stuck between 2 of some of the biggest songs on here, Little Things and Motivation Proclamation. Motivation Proclamation is probably a top 5 Good Charlotte song for me. Not sure how other people will think about that, but I dig that song personally. Definitely one of my favorites off the album. Festival song, pretty fun song, fun pop punk, but yeah, definitely my favorite Good Charlotte album. But yeah, that is my ranking of the Good Charlotte albums. Let me know your thoughts on my ranking. Do you agree or disagree with some of my placements? Let me know your favorite or least favorite album or songs and all that good stuff. But anyways, thanks for watching. Please leave a comment and a like. Subscribe. Have a nice day and take care.